Welcome to another conversation about the politics of our country, governance in our country, from my political lens, from where I sit. And as I always try to make very clear, this is my personal position, my personal observation, my personal analysis and evaluation of what's going on. You have a right to disagree with it. And I'm always looking forward to hearing your opinion of my thoughts because we learn from each other, and iron sharpens iron. Today I want to look at the conversation about taxes. Of course, right now there's been a big hullabaloo about the Finance Act that was passed recently, blames, finger pointing, conversations about who read, who did not read. Is this the right way to go? Is this not the right way to go? Of course. And one of the most controversial issues is about farmers and the proposal, if it exists, of taxing farmers. And one of the things, just to be very quick about this issue about farmers, farming is an entire value chain relationship. From me when I produce onions, for example, or even a product that is value added, like coffee. There's a farmer who produces coffee, then there's a person who picks the coffee, dries it, mills it, there's a person who packs it, there's a person who sells it or exports it. Most of the people along that value chain actually pay taxes. One of the challenges is that a lot of those people end up laying a lot of blame of what the costs and expenses to the farmer. But there's no way of confirming that when somebody says, I paid this farmer 10,000 shillings or 100,000 shillings for this produce, that you can actually confirm that that farmer actually got that money. In most cases, you'll find that the farmer got 20,000 shillings. And then me as a broker will say I paid him 100,000 shillings and claim that for my taxes as expenses. If it was possible, and I assume this is what this particular bill was trying to do, it was possible to put the farmer in the framework. Then you'll most probably realize that the farmer will make more money because now the broker and all the other intermediaries in the value chain have to say what they have paid the farmer correctly, right? Which means that if you say that you paid the farmer 20,000 shillings, then you pay more taxes. So more often than not, it will be easier to convince the middle people to actually pay the farmer more, because one way or the other, you end up keeping the same. So sometimes I think that is what this Finance Act was supposed to do. Just bring the farmer into the framework of the financial system, make sure that when somebody in the middle says that I paid the farmer 100,000, that farmer can actually confirm he received 100,000 shillings, not 20. And then if he gets an extra 80,000, and there's a structure of how, so you give us a bit of that because we actually helped you get more. I don't think any farmer will refuse. But again, there's an explanation that needs to be made for farmers to understand what's going on, for Kenyans to understand what exactly is going on. And that is my point in my discussion today. Let me start with the president. A lot of people point fingers at President Ruto in regards to issues of taxes and what all the things we are seeing. I have always believed that nobody runs for a public office, especially one as public as the presidency, to fail. So there's no way William Ruto ran for president so that he can fail. Fact. It's just common logic. So if he did not run to fail, and this is a democracy, so he can't beat us to agree with him, it means he expected or he expects to succeed in a way that we agree that he has succeeded. It means that when you're engaging with William Ruto, you have to give him benefit of the doubt and assume that what he is trying to do is intended to succeed so that he succeeds. So here we are. A national conversation is going on. Kenyans expect what? Employment opportunities. They expect to live in safety. They expect to be able to access healthcare. They expect to have their children go to a good education system, right? All of that somehow or the other, directly or indirectly, requires government intervention. So people say we expect the government to give us an enabling environment for us to be able to socialize with our friends safely without fear, for us to be able to access good quality products. So we need a standardization, a process of making sure that what gets to us is the correct thing. So we're not eating or drinking poison, for example, on this issue of alcoholism. Illicit alcohol, we want to be protected from bad substances because we might not have the technical know-how to know. These are responsibilities we give to the government. We want to expect that if we have a dispute, we can go to a court. So we expect a functioning judiciary. We expect to have police protecting us. We expect to have roads because they are common utilities. I cannot pay for the road. Somebody needs to pay for the road. We expect to have street lighting. We expect to have common sewage systems, because I'm not the only one who uses sewage systems. We expect to have an environment where I can go and relax, even if I cannot afford to go to have a private garden. I want to have a park, public park, where I can actually go. This and many other things are things we expect from the government. And all these things cost money. And governments don't have any money of their own. Because governments are actually me and you. Tomorrow you and I are in government, the next day we are not, the next day we are back. So governments are actually just all of us. So what is the problem? The problem is that there seems to be nobody investing in making the connection to people. That the things you want need money. We don't have money unless we get it from you. William Ruto, as president, and his government can only get money to run this government from two sources. One, either he borrows money, right, which is going to get paid back at some point, and Kenyans seem not to have a problem with people borrowing money using their name. But that's one way, and it's one of the ways government actually raises its revenues. The second way is to tax us, right? Because we are the resource of government. We are the people who produce. We're the producers of government. So the government has to come up with ways of getting some of the money that we make because of the enabling environment they give us to continue being able to provide that environment. So they tax us. The third thing is you get grants. Not a big thing, but then the problem about grants is that every grant you get, you have to give something. You know, you get grants, then you have to agree to have a certain social system, which you normally would not agree to. But then you are told, we will give you this amount of money if you allow us to tell Kenyans they can live like this. We'll give you this amount of money if you allow us to, if you give some of us you give us some of your people to go and fight in this war. You know, so all of this costs something, right? So here we are. As Kenyans, we're very clear about what we want. But also as Kenyans, we're very clear we don't want to pay taxes. But then I have never met anybody who doesn't pay for what is in their self-interest. People pay very expensive school fees because they believe that that school is going to give their child the best education available. People live in very expensive, in very upmarket neighborhoods and pay very high amounts of welfare contributions because they want to have good wastage disposal, they want to have good security, they want to have paved roads in the estate. They're happy to do that. The connection, the issue is always the connection between the money you're asking for and what it is doing. So the problem we have right now is that Kenyans are being asked to pay this amount of money and they can't see the connection between what they're paying and what that money is doing. Now, the money is doing something. We can fight about corruption. We can talk about what happens. Some money gets lost in between. But honestly, if you are watching this video, it means you are being able to access Wi-Fi from somewhere, right? It means you're in a safe place, because if you're in the middle of a war zone, I don't think you'd be listening to me. It means you are most probably somewhere relaxed, right? You're most probably going to wake up tomorrow and drive on a road or use a public service vehicle or walk on a road to go to work or to go and look for a job. So we have a functioning country. We have a functioning nation. We have hospitals, whether they have enough drugs or not. We do have hospitals. We have roads, right? Whether they have potholes or not, but they're there. We have police force, right? We have government institutions. We have CSs, PSs. We have 700,000 people employed by government to work for us. So we have a functioning nation. At some level, you may not agree on the efficiency of that nation, but we have it. So there is money being spent that you can see. If today somebody asks you to tell them black and white where money is going, you can see. You can see an extension officer, you can see a county government. That is money coming from your pocket. Now, I want to conclude this conversation by laying blame where I think it is, and I could be wrong, as I said. The problem we have in this country comes from the people who manage our funds, whether it is Treasury, whether it is Kenya Revenue Authority, the people who pick money from us as Kenyans, have not invested in telling us where that money is going. So we look at them as if they're stealing from us. And that is why there's so much effort to not pay taxes. Because nobody is seeing the connection between what they're paying and what they're getting back. So if I was asked, what this government needs to do is invest in a good public relations, strategic communications facility within Kenya Revenue Authority, within Treasury. There used to be a campaign called Tujitegemea. Tujitegemea is a church thing. Yeah? Something about if we contribute, we are going to be able to take care of ourselves. I can't remember. Is that it was kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. Right, thank you. Kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. That used to be a campaign. Today, you say that, people look at you cynically. But we need to go back to that, because actually that is the fundamental concept of how a nation is run. Kulipa ushuru, paying taxes, is self-reliance, right? Now, a lot of work needs to go into getting people to understand that, because I do not think Kenyans have a problem with paying for something that benefits them. We are all driven by selfish interest. So if you show me that if I pay this, I'll get this. We pay for expensive food. We pay for expensive clothes. We pay for expensive vehicles. We pay for expensive neighborhoods because we see the value. Right now, what we are not seeing is the value of our taxes. But those taxes are actually doing something. I know that for a fact because I observe it. So can Kenya Revenue Authority, as the face of the collection agency for government, please invest in explaining to Kenyans where the 1 shilling you take goes. Show me that value chain. Then let me start talking about, but here you can reduce, here you can reduce. But show me a direct line between the money I give you and the money I get back. If we do that, President Ruto is going to have a lot less pressure on him to explain about why he's asking for this money from us. Members of Parliament are going to stop running away from engaging the public when they're asked about the taxes they're introducing. This is the work. Treasury, start with Kenya Revenue Authority, come to Treasury. Then, of course, the political establishment. Let Kenyans understand the connection between the money they pay and what it does for them. Then every other conversation, whether it is about how to reduce, how to do austerity measures, how to reduce corruption, become a secondary conversation after we know where the money is going. So over to you guys. KRA, Treasury, political establishment, please come and talk to Kenyans. Tell us why you want me to give you my money and what that money is going to do for me. Once I see that value, I will have no problem paying it. Whether I'm a farmer, whether I'm a hotel keeper, whether I'm a businessman, whether I'm an IT, whether I'm an influencer or TikToker, I will pay. Because I want an enabling environment for me to make more money. Show me the money, right? So as always, we are shooting from Rware Central. We are very, very happy and honored that we continue to be one of the establishments in Nyeri town that Kenyans come to for food, good food, conference facilities, accommodation services. We're always happy to serve you. God bless you. God bless Kenya. Thank you.